Hey everybody, this is Alex, healthhacksreviewed.com. This video is part of the informational series on whole body vibration machines. What you need to know to make an informed purchase decision, okay, for your specific unique situation. Okay, so this video is about false specifications. So this is probably makes this product category one of the most challenging to actually analyze and review and shop for. So normally, in a lot of other product categories, for example, buying a car, you can go to the car dealership and they'll let you know basic information about that car, like for example, miles per hour, how fast it goes, right? Miles per gallon. Let's just look at those specific specification ratings, okay? So imagine if you went to a dealership and your goal maybe is to have an efficient car, okay, that has pretty good performance. You need to make sure these things we take for granted, like we want to make sure the car goes to 75, 80 miles an hour, right, for most kind of driving. We also want to make sure that it's not 5 miles to the gallon, right? We want to, especially nowadays with gas prices, we want good miles per gallon. Okay, so we just kind of take for granted that when we're analyzing cars and comparing different makers and models, that those specifications are going to be true, right? So it's kind of funny when we think about it. Imagine if you were trying to compare cars and you found out that, oh yeah, those ratings and specifications, they weren't exactly accurate. Your car really actually only goes up to 40 miles an hour, and it only gets 10 miles to the gallon, right? But you're paying the price of a car that actually goes 80 and actually gets 25 miles to the gallon, paying the same price, right? You'd be pretty upset. And so that industry, as you could imagine, is more regulated, which is exactly why you won't find that sort of ridiculous situation of dishonesty and misinformation. But in the area of whole body vibration machines, sure, the industry has been around 30 years, okay, but it's not really heavily regulated by really any bodies, any organizations that are really going to hold these different manufacturers and companies accountable. So these companies have basically run full on taking advantage of the situation and consumers. So what you find is 95% of the industry are companies that are importing these machines from 3 main manufacturers, mostly in China. Okay, they're then putting their own brand on it and selling it for whatever they want to sell it for. Normally, those machines are a fraction of the price costing to actually get, anywhere from $50 to $400 for a machine. And so with the specifications, they do get the manufacturer's specs, but in generally what they do is to justify that huge markup in price. If they're saying like, well, this $300, whole body vibration machine, we really want to sell it for $4,000, $39.95. Say that's the normal retail price. But we kind of have to justify that a little bit more because here we have these are the few brands out there that have these kind of specs and are $39.95 or $3,500. And we kind of want to liken in the consumer's mind that our machine is like that machine. So let's price it similarly. This is the scam or the game that they play. When in fact this is not true at all. So in your mind you think, well, it's a similar price and the specs seem to be the same, right? We're looking at the speed one, or the hertz, cycles per second, regardless of whether it's pivotal plate movement or linear plate movement or vertical plate movement. We still look at the frequency, right? So we're looking at the frequency. We're also looking at the g-force or magnitude, the acceleration force. And those are kind of the main things we look at. The power, the amperage, the wattage supplied to a motor. That's part of the picture of evaluating a machine. It's helpful to know, but there's still a lot of other gray area. Just because something is supplying a lot of extra amperage, a lot of extra wattage, it could be an extremely inefficient motor producing a lot of heat and friction and will wear on 2 years. You have no idea. So, but you have to look at the whole package of all the components together, basically. So the key things when it comes to evaluating a machine of what it's capable of producing, its performance, you really just only have to stick with checking out the amplitude, checking out the frequency, checking out the G-force. I'll give you an example. Imagine the performance specifications of a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, right? And what that machine is capable of, okay? And imagine what the specifications performance, what a Toyota Camry, okay, is capable of on a racetrack, okay? So obviously there's a difference, right? And we would expect to see something like, well, the Ferrari goes, tops out 260, goes 0 to 60 and blah, blah, blah. You get the point, right? So we can kind of infer, as long as we know the specs are legitimate, the 0 to 60 miles per gallon, how fast goes top speed, we can actually infer a little bit, okay, well, the engineering has to be better in the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. I don't even need to see the price tag per se. I just need to look at those type of specs. Look what this Camry does over here. It's good engineering, but it's definitely different performance category for sure. So we do the same thing with vibration equipment, and this is what I've done in my reviews and research. But the challenge is you have to make sure if you're going to evaluate machines this way that those specs are actually truthful, that they're honest. And so as long as you've established that, then it's a lot easier to infer, okay, well, this one is probably worth $3,500. Nah, this one really should be priced around $800. You know what I mean? They're way off, okay? So that's taken me a little while to come by that information. For some of my analysis, I've actually reviewed and taken a look at the different sorts of specs and try to validate them with different devices. And I've definitely found that a lot of them are lying about their specifications. I've also cited specifically third-party engineering firms that have done analysis on a lot of the common machines coming out of these 3 manufacturers in China. That was very eye-opening. And then the rest is you kind of get consensus in the field, feedback about how machines hold up over time, especially in commercial settings. So I've formed some relationships with just a few commercial centers, clinics, that have used a variety of different machines and know how they perform over time and truly know if they are performance. They'll know if they buy a machine and if they were lied to with the specs, it's going to have a problem in a few months or a year or two, and they're going to open up the machine and they're going to see, well, this is the issue. They clearly lied to us about the specification. So there's a lot of information that can be learned from those specific situations. So I really have drawn a lot of good information with those types of relationships that I've formed with those key individuals in those centers. Outside of that, that's probably where you're really able to analyze, if you can get that information and get to where you need to be a lot faster. And then at that point, I'll talk about in other videos, other areas that you want to look at to further fine-tune exactly what type of machine brand between those brands, the better brands, and the models are going to be best suited for you. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, send me an email or give me a call. Thanks.